So the Abbey community has been talking a lot about impermanence on BBC lately, and our own various insights about how to understand it and to reflect on it. And so there's the impermanence of the body, the impermanence of our states of mind, the impermanence of the situations here at the Abbey that seem to sometimes turn and change on a gross level, moment by moment. But there's an experience here at the Abbey that I find to be one of the best Dharma practices as far as impermanence, and also a very helpful meditation on the 8 worldly concerns, particularly the attachment to material possessions. And it's called Going to the Dump. This is something that we've done a lot this summer. And Donnie and I went yesterday to take some recycling. And it's absolutely a fascinating experience from a Dharma viewpoint, because you pull into these rather well cared for, groomed facilities. We call them transfer stations here in the state of Washington. And you come around the corner, and in front of you are these piles of garbage. And as you get closer and closer, you start sort of discerning the objects in these piles of garbage. And if it's summertime and your windows are rolled down in your vehicle, there's an olfactory smell that also comes along with the visual. And you start looking at the things that are in the pile. And the part that astonishes me and is so helpful is that there are things in there that I have been extremely attached to as far as material possessions go in my life. And to see them go from treasured objects of attachment to garbage, where what you want to do above all else is to get rid of them, and to see them change their status in our lives from coveted and treasured to junk. And I think about that not only on the level of impermanence, how they're changing, because you're looking at mattresses, you're looking at toys, you're looking at clothing, you're looking at food, you're looking at diapers, you're looking at cribs, microwaves, barbecue sets that have been dismantled, metal over here, rubber over here, or just thrown into this heap of garbage. And when I go and I look at these piles and I think of all the, who knows how many hours of time and effort for people to acquire the resources and the money to be able to purchase these things in the past. How much time shopping on the internet or going around to different stores and trying to figure out what can I get for the best value for what I need it for, and how long will it last, and things like that. And then also all the mental activity on trying to get just the right thing. Now, so we go through all of this, and for me, this is the attachment to the 8 worldly concern of material possessions, of which I have the same mindset. I go through the same mental gymnastics of acquisition. What can I get for my money, and how will it function, how long will it last, and how comfortable will it be, and how soft will it feel, and will I get a good night's sleep, will I be warm, and things like that. And then to just look at this pile and to see all the effort, all the hard work, all the money, all the functioning of these things. And over time, due to their impermanence, they start disintegrating, and sooner or later their functionality for what we originally acquired them for ceases. And then after a while, whether you're like the folks here at the Abbey, where we try to repair and reuse something that may be used as an object of a certain function, we can then sort of add a few legs and screw it together in a different configuration, it becomes something else. Or we can recycle it, or donate it to someone who may need it, that we've stopped having use for it. But when I look at these piles and I see both the 8 worldly concern of how we've gone about acquiring these things, and then the disintegration of them. And then after a while, the thing that we want more than anything is to just get them out of our lives, because they're taking up space, they're in our backyard, they're in our closets, they're in a pile in the barn, which is where most of our stuff goes before it goes to the dump. It goes into black trash cans, it goes into garbage cans. We cut it up into smaller pieces so it doesn't take up so much room. And then to go and then to see that that stuff is now of no use. And that in our country, the issue of what to do with all of these acquisitions that now have disintegrated into now what we call garbage, and then how do we get rid of it? So it's not like we don't stop needing things to keep us warm and keep us fed and keep us housed and keep things running in our lives. But for me, it's kind of like when I get into the mind of what is it that I want to, if somebody says, what do you need, Semke, is to kind of use this practice when I go to the dump as saying, what is it that I truly need as far as my requisites to sustain my life to practice? And when does my mind go beyond that for the comfort, the pleasure, the increased pleasure of my own state of mind and my own body and my own sense of self? And to be able to learn by this very simple practice of going to the dump is how does that apply to my own attachment to material possessions and my understanding of impermanence, that even the things that through the kindness of many people I take, I use, and then after a while they cease to be able to function for what I need it for, and then how do I then work with what I have to do to then get rid of it? And so by doing this in my own mind, I'm trying to learn to cultivate contentment on a little bit more simple, basic level, to try to really support the guidelines here, being able to reuse and recycle and repair things until they honestly cannot be used for anything else, but maybe kindling, and then or rags, and then to really use the practice and this experience of going to the dump to see how gross and subtle impermanence are pervasive in our lives, and that this is a very gross form of it. And just how to use that in my Dharma practice and to increase my mindfulness, my mind of simplicity and contentment, and to see when my mind wanders into the affliction of attachment, to have a little bit better, a little bit more comfortable, something that if it breaks, I just want something else, and to see how my mind, the mind of convenience and the mind of immediate gratification, still has a hold on me, sometimes in subtler forms. So by continually going to the dump, because I'm the person who goes more frequently than probably anyone, is to continually integrate it into my Dharma practice so that I can cultivate some virtuous states of mind as a result. So anyway, so for all of you who go to the dump or put your trash out on the curbside, use the meditative Dharma practice to cultivate simplicity, contentment, forms of gross impermanence, and also to, if you want, is to work on your attachment to what's inside your garbage can that used to be a treasured object, that is now trash, and see if there's some way that you can simplify your needs and wants.